This is Dr. Kimani, licensed clinical psychologist. How to deal with the workplace bully. This is for Black women in toxic jobs. I wanted to have this conversation in October because October is Bullying Prevention Month. So I wanted to talk more specifically about this. I've had other videos talking about workplace bullies. I've talked about my experience with workplace bullying. But what I've noticed is that people seem to resonate a lot as well when I cite actual research. So I'm going to cite research about workplace bullying, and I'm also going to reference a video, a really good video from a Black woman who talks about how to deal with workplace bullying. So it's going to be the research and then what to do about it, how to handle it. Okay. So I want to give you, again, practical tips about how to handle workplace bullies. So the article that I'm referencing is from Harvard Business Review. The title is How Bullying Manifests at Work and How to Stop It. So you're going to see me referencing the notes because I want to make sure that I get the research correct. Okay. So they're talking about 30% of those in the workplace experience some form of workplace bullying. Now, there's some question that wasn't in the article, but I've heard other people talk about if the rates are actually higher for Black people and particularly Black women because of intersectional issues such as racism and sexism. So I want to talk about the different types of bullying that they review in this article. So they talked about, number one, that bullying can really impact employees' psychological well-being, and that's why it's so important to address it, because if you're impacting the employees' well-being, that will then impact if employees want to stay at that job, right? So just think about how much an organization puts into training someone. That costs a lot of money. And so when you are impacting people's well-being, they're more likely to leave or they're not able to perform at their highest level. Okay. So in terms of the different types of bullying, they review what those look like. Okay. So the two main categories they talk about are the screamer and the schemer. Okay. So as you're listening to this video, as you're watching this video, I invite you to think about if you are experiencing workplace bullying or if you have in the past, which one or both have you experienced? Okay. So the screamer is the one who yells and like bangs on tables and very loud, right? Very out, with the bullying. The schemer is the more undercover one, right? So the more sneaky one. So the one who's talking behind your back, the one who's engaging in character assassinations. I call these people like puppet masters. So they're behind the scenes controlling things. They may not be the one actually doing it. They will control people to do their dirty work. So I know for me, the workplace bully in many places, many times was the puppet master. Okay. So think about, is your bully a schemer or a screamer or a streamer, a screamer or a schemer, excuse me. And so they also talk about that they can be elements of both. So maybe if they're not all screamer, but they might be part schemer too. So I think the workplace bully that I had previously was both, but my encounters with her were more so in terms of scheming. Okay. So they might have multiple motives in terms why they do this. And we'll talk about what those motives might be. Okay. So just think about if the workplace bully that you are encountering is a schemer or a screamer. Okay. And so the misconception or some ways that they're able to kind of get away with the behavior, because when we think about bullying, what's so disturbing about this is that the organization often is aware of the bully's behavior and they don't check the bully. And so then that creates a toxic work environment. So in terms of who's the target of the bullying and also the bystanders as well. The bystanders are watching other people getting bullied and they are scared. So they're fearful of saying something or even aligning with the target of the bully because they feel like they're going to be next. Okay. That just shows you how damaging it is. So sometimes organizations might say, oh, that person, again, colluding. They might say, oh, that person just holds people to really high standards, or that person is just very passionate about that work. but not recognizing that this person is engaging in harmful behaviors that really harm the organization. So it harms the person's targeted, it harms the bystanders, it harms the organization. Okay. So this is what was really stood out to me. They said that a common assumption is that the bullies are the star performers and that their high performance justifies why they act that way. What they're saying, though, is that the actual star performers are actually the target of the bullying. So I invite you to think about for yourself when you're in a hostile work environment and you might be the target of bullying, more than likely it's because you are intimidating to the bully. So you are the star player here, and the bully is intimidated by you. So the bully, and it says here that the bully, listen to this, are usually mediocre performers who may appear to be stars while they often take the credit for the work of others. This may have happened to you. It has absolutely happened to me. Okay. So they're not thinking about the benefit of the organization. They're driven just by their ego. So they don't care about what they're doing and how it's going to impact the organization. They're fueled by, the need to put other people down to help themselves feel better. That is a very disturbing sign that someone is deeply insecure. Okay. But that's what we see many times with the workplace bully. Okay. So they're not the star performers. And it often says that they often envy and covertly victimize organization focused high performers. So those of us who are shining in the workplace, who are doing things that the bully could never do, they are intimidated and they will try to take you down at all costs. Okay. And so again, we think about the hurt that it causes the organization. Okay. So they talk about some organizational things that need to happen. I'm going to briefly talk about that because my focus is less so on the organizational. My focus is on Black women, how to recognize that you are experiencing workplace bullying and what to do about it. Okay, so I want to give you those practical tips. I want to give you the research first, okay? And the parts, I already knew a lot of this stuff, but it's always good to see the research that says that the bully is just intimidated and usually is mediocre at best. Okay, so they talk about how organizations have to check the bully because when the bully runs amok, then you end up impacting the whole work environment. So the work environment becomes toxic because of the bully and then those who collude with them. Okay. They talk about the need to screen out those people who exhibit very aggressive, arrogant behaviors. And those who have difficulties with communication, so those who scream at people or belittle people. Okay, so that was the research. Okay, so I went over the research. I will put the link to the article in the description section so you can read it for yourself. But I was like, it really confirms a lot of things that I already thought. But again, it's good to see the research. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how to deal with a workplace bully. And so I'm referencing a video that was really good. It's called Got a Workplace Bully, Do This Next. And this is by Jenny Clark. I've already reached out to Miss Clark. So Miss Clark, if you're watching this, I've already reached out to you. I would love for you to be a guest on my channel. Okay. So she talked about a few things. One, she talked about how the workplace bullying can contribute to a toxic work environment. She also mentioned, which I completely agree, that bullying is a form of trauma. The gaslighting that you experience many times in these toxic work environments, it's a form of psychological abuse because it gets in your head and it makes you question yourself. It even makes you question your perception of reality. Okay. So, as she mentioned too, and I can absolutely agree, she said it's demoralizing and taxing to be the target of bullying. So some tips that I want to offer you Black women. So this comes from, again, the video that I saw, Got a Workplace Bully, Do This Next by Jenny Clark. So I'm going to share the tips that she shared, okay? And I love the tips. One, see the signs. Pay attention to the signs. So when you see something and when you experience something and you know it doesn't feel good in your spirit, it's probably not right. Okay. So, one, see the signs, write down what that experience is. Emery Archer, the anti-HR lady, talks a lot about the importance of documentation. Start documenting what's happening, write exactly what happened, talk about how that impacted you. And it also provides an opportunity for you to reality test. So when you write it down, you look at what you wrote down, you look at the situation, you're able to say, that was messed up what happened. Okay. So even if they're gaslighting you and you might start self gaslighting yourself, this is a way to help you in terms of reality testing. So you're able to see the reality, what happened and why you were impacted in that way. So that's one. Number two, acknowledge and ask questions. So you may say to your supervisor or to other people, did you notice that? I noticed that this happened when I said this. Did you notice this as well? And it's really good when you have witnesses. Okay. Now, the thing is that the witnesses might kind of disappear when you need them, but it's helpful in terms of reality testing. Okay. Three, seek support. So there's different ways that you might choose to seek support. I think in the video, she talked about human resources. Due to the number of videos I've done about that and, conversations I've had with Black women who have previously worked in human resources, even Emery Archer, I'm a little leery about that. Okay, so use some discernment in terms of if you choose to go to HR. And if you choose to go to HR, please watch my other videos about some tips or some things to keep in mind if you choose to go to HR. Okay. 4, research resources. Look to see what resources you might have available to you. It might even be start looking at other jobs, right? So start looking at what are your options. Okay. So research resources. 5, stand your ground. So bullies thrive off of situations where they think that they can get over on you. Okay. So I know for me, I never cowered down to the bully. However, I didn't have support, right? So I stood up and other people really didn't stand with me. So I was really isolated, but that helped me in terms of, okay, let me really look at what's happening here, what's happening to me, how other people are responding to me based upon the bully, based upon their fear in terms of retaliation, because they see what has happened to me. Let me evaluate and pay attention to what's happening. I'm going to still stand my ground, but I also want to think, is this the place for me? Is this the place for me where I'm experiencing this treatment, trying to do my job? So I'm fighting a bully to do my job, which makes no sense. And the organization is well aware of this woman's behavior because other people have complained about her. There was a lawsuit. Another Black woman got a settlement, and I talked to her previously in one of my other videos. So she was well known. If you bring up her name, people are like, oh, yeah, I know about her. Yeah, I've heard about her. Okay. So the organization knows about this person. So that encouraged me to really evaluate, do I really want to stay here? And what are my resources? Okay. 6, she mentioned therapy, how important that is for therapy, because again, this is a form of trauma. They can get in your head and play these mind games with you. And you could start, again, self-gaslighting, start questioning yourself, questioning your sense of reality, questioning your worth, and then it becomes consuming. So therapy is very important. And 7, what am I supposed to learn from this? What is this experience teaching me in terms of this work environment, about myself, in terms of how I receive and respond to negative feedback? So when these things are happening to you, sometimes what can happen, which is why therapy is so important, sometimes an experience in terms of workplace bullying can remind you of other traumas you've had in your life. And so it can trigger that. And so the experience in the job can parallel other traumas in your life, and or the job can be a form of trauma. It can be a trauma trigger. Okay. So be mindful of that and recognize, what is this experience showing me? Is this experience showing me that I need work with paying attention to signs? Do I need support with that? Do I overlook things even though they are not benefiting me and they are harming me? what is this experience teaching me? Okay, so let's use this as a lesson, and let's use this as a lesson that we can also pivot and leave. Because again, if you are in a situation where there's workplace bullying, more than likely the organization knows about it. And the fact that the organization is not doing anything about it is very disturbing. And that environment is not healthy for you. So just think about that for yourself. Reflect on what type of work environment do you want to work in. So as I talk on my videos, I am talking to Black women who are ready to leave a toxic job. So the readiness might look a little different. So it may not all look like, okay, I'm ready to go tomorrow. It might look like I'm starting to think about what I'm experiencing in this work environment. It's harming me, and I want to make steps to go. Okay. So you might be anywhere on that continuum. But again, I want you to be mindful of workplace bullying. And it's okay to acknowledge that you've had this experience. Sometimes people feel, I guess, a sense of shame, that they've been the target of workplace bullying. And they think that, oh, that must mean that people might see me as weak. I would say that's the very opposite. They see you as powerful. They see things in you that they can never have. And they are intimidated by you, and they're attempting to destroy you because of their own insecurities. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. Okay. So if you are in a situation where you're trying to get out and you don't know how, book a discovery call with me. Okay. So we can talk about what's going on at your job. We can also talk about possible options I might have to support you, and look to see if we're a good fit to work with one another. Okay. So if you want to book a discovery call, click in the link in the description section. Click the link and get on my calendar. And I will also put the resources that I mentioned in the description section as well. Again, if you're ready and you're stuck, click in the description section, get on my calendar, and we can talk. Okay, because there's a way out. Sometimes you need a little support. I know I needed support, and I'm so thankful for the support that I received. So I was able to pivot and get out. Okay, so as I'm signing off, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, share this video with other Black women. I would say at least 2 other Black women, because more than likely, if you know another Black woman, unfortunately, she has had a toxic job, or she's currently in a toxic work environment. And as I talked about before, in terms of my own healing journey, once you leave a toxic job, that there is an ongoing healing process. The healing doesn't stop once you get out. It's an ongoing process. It's difficult to start healing once you're in that, if you're still being harmed in a toxic work environment. So that's why I talk about, really think about possibly leaving. Okay. So again, this video is for Black women who are ready to leave a toxic job, no matter where you're on that continuum. Okay. I'm here to support you. My videos might be your way of kind of reflecting, self-reflecting on where are you now, where is it that you want to go, and getting ready, getting the courage to go. Okay. This video is not for Black women who want to stay at a toxic job. Okay. So again, I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to share resources with you. I'm here to encourage you to self-reflect on what I'm talking about. And I'm also asking you to please share this video with other Black women, as I'm ushering in a movement to help Black women heal and leave from toxic jobs. Okay. It's actually reversed. Leave and heal from toxic jobs. So I invite you to please come with me on that journey, which is just sharing this video with other Black women, subscribing to my channel, and giving this video a thumbs up. Okay. It's easy as that. And if you need additional support in terms of me helping you, again, click the link in the description section, get on my calendar, and we can talk. Okay. Okay. So I'm signing off. See you later. And again, check out those resources I have for you in the description section. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.